Hello everybody, my name is Kiwiwi and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of playing The Sims, we're going to be ranking The Sims. And in particular, we're going to be ranking Sims 4 packs. So just a big disclaimer, as you can see, I do have a section that says don't own / no thoughts. I put that in there because I don't want to be particularly negative in this video. Like, I'm going to have some thoughts that aren't particularly positive, but I don't want to hate on a pack that I don't own, that I haven't played with, just for the sake of hating on it. So I do have that category. And also a bit of a warning, yes, there will be some non-positive thoughts in this video, but these opinions are all my own. I'm not somebody to like hang your hat on with like opinions of The Sims. Obviously we all have our own opinions. I'm just some 21-year-old who makes videos on the internet. So with that said, form your own opinions, but these are my personal opinions, which I don't really get into online. Like, I try to kind of stay out of that because I don't want to come across as too negative or whatever. So yeah, this is like a rarity where I'm talking about my thoughts and feelings on The Sims. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. First of all, we're gonna get into the base game, and I do have a list of a bunch of notes, yeah, let's just get into it. So the base game was obviously initially released without pools or toddlers, which was later patched in, so I am taking that into consideration. The fact that it was released without these things, but also the fact that it was patched in later, which is great. So also there was less included within this base than previous base games. So like Sims 2 and Sims 3 in particular. I don't really know much about Sims 1, so I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, there was a lot less included than the previous base games, which also is a bit of a fault in this in the Sims 4 base game in particular. But I will say that the Create a Sim within Sims 4 is my favorite. It's the best in the franchise in my opinion, and I think a lot of people agree with that. There's just more options to like really get into details. Like, you have detail edit mode, and you can really just jump into Create a Sim and create like your sim. You can make your sim look however the hell you want, and I think that's amazing. I will also say that the base game was released with not a lot of options for skin tones, which they've kind of added more, but there's still, I know there's a lot of talk about how they're still not great. And I do agree in that sense. I think they could do a lot better. Also, there's not a lot of textured hairs, which is also a fault in the base game. So for the base game, I'm going to say that it's meh. I'm not in love with it, but it's not horrible, you know? So moving on from the base game, we're going to go into Snowy Escape, which was an expansion pack. So in my notes, I have that it was a beautiful world, which it was. I don't really think many people would disagree with that. The lots were really well done, and they were specifically made by creators in The Sims, and I think that also was a really good decision. I'm pretty sure this was the first expansion pack, or a pack in general, where they let people who play The Sims, who aren't part of EA specifically, do the building. I think they were all game changers. I might be wrong. But yeah, I thought that was really good to do. Also, skiing, snowboarding, and sledding were great features to be added. I love them. I think they're amazing. Also, Snowy Escape did add more culture to the game, which I really appreciate. And the items in Create a Sim, such as the hair and the clothes, were just amazing in my opinion. So Snowy Escape will be a like for me. Moving on to Cottage Living. Again, a beautiful world, amazing lots, which were built by creators. There were new animals, though I do wish that we could have at least owned the bunnies, like had pet bunnies. I really wish that was a feature. And also for errands, I personally find them really annoying to do. Like, I don't like the odd jobs, which came with Island Living. Not a big fan of that kind of stuff, just personally. And the only way to upgrade your farm buildings, you need a specific upgrade part, which you can only get through errands, and I don't really like that. So cottage living will, overall, I do like the pack, so I'm gonna say like. Moving on to outdoor retreats. This was the first vacation world that we were given, so that has a special place in my heart. There were options to camp in a cabin or a tent, which I also really liked. There were great items. The world is beautiful. I do think that this pack is fairly easy to forget once you vacation there once or twice. Like, I think when I first bought the pack, I vacationed there right away, and then it took me forever to go back and vacation there. However, we do get the camping items, which are a tent and the cooler, and I do find that those are great if you're doing a Rags to Riches LP. So I will take that into consideration when ranking this pack, and I'm gonna say that I find it meh as well. Spa day. This one, my opinion has changed drastically since the refresh of this pack. But it has great items, great gameplay. I love the spa feature. It was the first pack refresh, and I think the only thus far, which obviously that refresh, in my opinion, made it 10 times better. The high maintenance trait was also part of the refresh, and I love it. And I love the wellness skill. So, plus the item, already went over that. The items were really great. So I'm gonna put that in like. I do quite like that pack. Now, moving on to Dine Out. Dine Out is a pack that a lot of people find is very broken and very buggy. Personally, I don't have that issue. So in my opinion, I'm just gonna kind of like not focus on the fact that it's broken. I love the idea of restaurants, but I do find that it's poorly executed in the fact that it takes hours for you to arrive at the restaurant, get your stuff, get your stuff, and then eat and get gone. It's just way too long. So you kind of have to, if you're going out for dinner, you kind of have to arrive at like noon, and then you'll be eating by like 6, and you'll be done by like midnight. Like, that's how ridiculous it is. So I do take that part into consideration, and I do love the option to own your own restaurants. So for Dine Out, I'm gonna put it in meh as well. Vampires. Vampires is not my personal cup of tea. I do like the wall decorations where it's like cracks and like you can see like the boarding of the walls instead, and it like all the paint or the wallpaper has peeled off. I do really like that part of it, and I do have it in my notes, just quote, Vlad is annoying, unquote. So that's kind of my stance on it. Unfortunately, this is going to be the first hate for me. Moving on to Parenthood. And I have it listed as my personal favorite game pack. And it adds more depth in terms of family gameplay, and I love the family board where you can set curfews. So Parenthood, not much else to say. It's a favorite of mine. Moving on to Jungle Adventures. I did write that it is a beautiful world, which I don't think many people would argue that fact. Again, adds more culture to the game, which is always a plus. Exploring the jungle is really cool. I haven't done it too much because my Sims always get like super tired, so I don't really go that far into it. And it gives me World Adventures in The Sims 3 kind of vibes, which is really cool. And the lots are quite nice. There's one lot with like a pool built into the ground that's kind of like close to the house. I'm not describing it very well, but that is my ultimate favorite house to get into. So whoever built that at EA or at Maxis, like props to you, because you guys did a great job with that one. So Jungle Adventures will be in like for me. Strangerville. Strangerville, I didn't initially like the idea. I did do a lot of complaining about that pack back in the day when I was more vocal. Um, but I changed my mind over time. I quite like this pack. It's really cool gameplay upon your first run of the story. However, once you've played that story once, you don't really want to play it again. I mean, maybe far off in the future you would want to play it again. Like, I have seen some creators like who played the game or played that pack, went through the story when it first came out, doing it more recently again. So I will give it points there. I wish they'd do a refresh and add more to the story, so a part 2 to the story, which I've seen a lot on Twitter as well, so I know that's more of a common thought. And I wish they added an option to turn off the story so Sims weren't walking around infected. So if you've already played through the story mode once, it's kind of annoying if your Sims are like in a different save file walking around all infected. Like, I wish they'd give you the option to turn that off. I know you can with a mod, but I wish that it was like implemented in the actual game. And I did also note that it's a beautiful world. So, because I personally I don't like it more than I don't like it. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm gonna put that in meh as well. And next up, we have the very controversial Journey to Batuu. Now, I don't own this game pack, but I'm going to say some things about it. Star Wars is just a no for me personally, so that is my only negative thing about the pack, but again, that's just personally, so I'm not hating on the pack in general. I know a lot of Star Wars people loved it. And so there is also, the reason I wanted to say more about this pack was that there are a lot of cool items that aren't super in-your-face Star Wars themed, which it kind of makes me want to buy the pack, which I might one day, just for those items. But also I don't own it, so there's not much for me to comment on. So obviously that's gonna go in don't own. Next for me is get to work. My opinions on this pack are probably pretty controversial, honestly, because I know it's a really liked pack. But my points are that it's very buggy right now, specifically the detective career. If you watch Claire Chabon, when she was playing Not So Very Peach Generation, I think it was, it got to the point where she couldn't actually like go to work with her anymore. So that's a bit of a downfall for me. And then obviously the hospital births are very bugged, and you have the T-posing doctors, which a lot of people comment on. So very buggy pack. It's a cool concept, but the bugs make it mostly unenjoyable for me. The detective career forces you to go to work, which I don't like. And I also think the hospital career, the doctor career, doesn't force you to go to work as well. The scientist career doesn't. So that's, I like the scientist career the most out of that pack. And I wish they'd do a refresh and add more careers in the future. However, I know that's pretty unrealistic of a want, because obviously adding more careers, they could just do that in other packs. Like they did with City Living. No, City Living, actually, you have the work from home option, but you can't like actually go to work. So never mind, scratch that. They don't have it in other packs, but they totally could. So get to work is gonna be meh for me. Next is Realm of Magic, and personally, I'm not super into magic. I don't really love occults in The Sims, but I do know that it is a beautiful world, and the Magic Realm area is also very beautiful, and it does have nice objects. So Realm of Magic will also be in meh for me. I'm just gonna organize this a little better because it's gonna bug me a bit. Maybe I'll put that there. Okay, so moving on from Realm of Magic, we have Dream Home Decorator. Now, I'm not super into the career of it. Just personally not my cup of tea. However, I do think that the build items are absolutely amazing. I use them constantly, and I love the creatism outfits. So Dream Home Decorator is a like for me. Next, one of the, I think, most disliked stuff packs because it was the first. Luxury party stuff. There are some cool pub or party items. The chocolate fountain absolutely slaps. I love it. I forget about it often, but every time that I actually see it and I add it, I'm in love. It's very much lacking in terms of content versus price, but because it was the first stuff pack, I do give it a bit of a pass. So luxury party stuff, I'm gonna put as a meh. It's gonna be a meh for me. Next is the perfect patio. And my specific note is the quote, "Was obsessed with this pack until I bought it, lol," unquote. So that's my big opinion on that. And then also the major selling point, at least for me, was the fact that we would get hot tubs. That's literally the reason I wanted this pack to begin with. But it ended up being, like, hot tubs ended up being added to base game during the anniversary of The Sims. So, I mean, basically, like, what's the point? Kind of thing to buy it. There are some cool stuff, but overall, I don't like it. It's going in hate. I'm sorry. Next is Cool Kitchen. And I have, quote, "Items are all right?" Question mark, unquote. So I also said that it's a very forgettable pack in general, and the only plus for me was adding ice cream. So because I absolutely love ice cream, it's going in meh, if I can get it there. There we go. So next is the spooky stuff pack. So I did go in a little hard on this one. I said that it's kind of bland minus the pumpkin carving station. Really like that feature. And then my final thoughts were it could have all been in seasons. However, this pack did come out like pretty far before seasons. I think it was one of the first packs to come out. So I do give it credit there. But still, it's going in hate. I'm sorry. I feel bad whenever I throw anything in hate, but that, again, just my opinion. Next is Movie Hangout. So it adds movie theaters, which is cool, but I don't ever add them to my game. I love creating a home theater, and it adds more to do with your family, i.e. movie night. So, plus popcorn. Popcorn is also a big plus for me. So I'm gonna put it in meh as well. Yeah, meh. I'm teetering between meh and hate, or not hate, meh and like. So maybe I'll just give it the credit for like. Romantic Garden. It's really. I wrote that it has really cute items, but the magic well is pretty cool. So since that was basically my only thoughts on the pack, I am going to put it under meh, because it doesn't have that pizzazz that I would need for it to be a like. Kids room stuff, Void Critters slap is what I wrote. There's more gameplay in terms of family stuff, and it made kids a little less boring. They're still pretty boring, but a little less boring. So I am gonna put kids room stuff in like. I also remember when that pack came out, I was so excited to buy it. Like, I wanted it so badly. So that's why it's in like. Next is backyard stuff. Again, I wrote, quote, "What's the point? LOL." And cool water slides, I guess. So again, another pack that I really just don't like. That's going in hate. Sorry. Next is Get Together, which, full disclosure, I really didn't like this pack until recently. When I discovered that the club function was a lot cooler than I really initially thought it was. The club function makes rounding up your Sims a lot easier. Also, I did find it really helpful when I had an elder Sim that I was kind of focusing on a little bit. If you saw my old channel, I had a Let's Play where I focused on him a lot, and it made elders a lot more interesting. Like, I had him make like an elders club, and one of their likes was baking, and they just made 1 billion cakes. It was really entertaining for me. Also, we love a club moment and messy woohoo. And messy woohoo, I'm talking about like doing it in the closet. Love that. So that's also gonna go in my faves. It's weird how much that changed over time, but it is one of my faves now. Moving on to vintage glamour. Honestly, I own it, but I don't even know what it does or what comes with it. So, essentially it should be, I mean, I do own it, but no thoughts. But because the next highest one is worst, it's gonna go in worst. I'm really sorry about that one. Next is bowling night, and I wrote 10 out of 10, love bowling in general. It adds great gameplay for families and friends, like your teens need something to do, so they can go to the bowling alley. Super cool, love that. And I love the idea of a sim super obsessed with bowling. So bowling, because I grew up on bowling, my childhood was a lot of bowling, it's going in like. Next we have the fitness stuff. I love the rock climbing wall, but it's so big that I can't really get it inside of my house, and it breaks outside with rain. So it is a bit annoying, but I love it. And I love the headphones, and I love the option to do workouts on TV. So this is also going in the like category. Next, we have toddler stuff, and I wrote, finally more toddler items, with a lot of exclamation points. And then I wrote, ball pit was yikes. Wish there were more smaller items, and the cast items were great. Like, I love that little outfit with like the fox hoodie and like the stuff like that. Like, I think it's so cute. Toddler stuff, very controversial opinion, but it's one of my favorites. Next, we have laundry stuff pack, and I wrote, finally laundry, and then a few exclamation points, and I'm like, just kidding, it's annoying in practice. So yeah, I love the idea of laundry, but it just gets so annoying when you have more than one sim in your household. But however, the hairs in Create a Sim are some of my favorites. Like, I absolutely love them, and I love the clothing items. They are beautiful. So I think it's more of a cast opinion for me, and because of Create a Sim, I'm going to put it in like. Next. The very, very controversial my first pet stuff. I wrote, an utter joke with items clearly meant to be in cats and dogs. Small items are cool, I guess, but a bit bland. And more clothing options for cats and dogs, which I liked. So not much of an opinion on the my first pet stuff. I don't hate it, so it's gonna go as a meh for me. Next is the pack I can't pronounce, but I'm going to take a note from Little Simsy, and I'm going to call it mosquito stuff. So I can't pronounce it because I'm dumb. And I love the photography stuff, and I wish they added a photography career. So I'm going to put it, I don't think I hate it, but it's not necessarily good. So it's going meh. Next is tiny living, which I wrote, very cool concept, lots of great items, love the small home perks, but it's not my personal favorite because tiny homes stress me out. So for that being said, I am gonna put it in like, because mostly positive points. And then next is nifty knitting. So I wrote, finally some elder gameplay options, love that you can knit outfits for the object babies. Rocking chairs are A+, and overall a cool pack. So again, nifty knitting is gonna be a like for me. Next was paranormal stuff, which was the last stuff pack, and I wrote in quotes, or not in quotes, in brackets, RIP to stuff packs. Haunted house lot trait, which was really cool in practice, but I didn't personally like it. And then there was the new career option, which was the paranormal investigator. And then I also noted that it was a cool concept but not enjoyable for me personally, though I was extremely excited for it upon release. So, paranormal stuff, it's gonna be a meh for me. I'm sorry, it's a meh. City living is the next one, which I wrote, love the world that came with it. Wish we could customize apartments more. Love the festivals and events that come with the world, and I love the apartments with traits you can't remove as it adds more depth. So like the TLC trait, love that. So for city living, it's also gonna go in like. I'm quite a fan of city living. Like it, okay, just ignore me trying to play with it. Okay, so the next expansion pack is cats and dogs. So as an animal lover, I can't bring myself to hate this pack, but I wish we could have more control over the pets without having to mod the game. And I wish it came with more options or more pet options like the previous Sims 3 pack for pets, which was obviously labeled Sims 3 Pets. This was just cats and dogs, so we knew what we were getting going into it. And I did say that I love the world. So because I love animals, it's going in my faves. Yeah, it's going in my faves. Let me just adjust these. I'm so sorry. Okay, so moving on, we have seasons, which was very much needed for more realism within the game, but it was lacking in some areas, i.e. winter activities. So because it was so essential for me, and just the aspect of having seasons in the game is the most important part for me, I am going to put it in faves. It belongs up there. Come on, just go there. Thank you. Sorry, I'm so obsessive about placement. And then next is Get Famous. This one I was a little more negative with. So fame system is annoying in my opinion. The houses were missing toilets, which makes most of the lots not functional, which is kind of disappointing. And I wrote the mansions are too big and very ugly. If you've seen Judith Ward's house, you know what I'm talking about. We don't need to get into that. I also wrote they didn't give poor Holly Alto a home in the world. She was just kind of placed in the people manager thingy and left to roam, which is kind of upsetting as like a Sims 3 stan. Because, you know, I love the Altos. I love Holly Alto. So I also wrote, why was Dustin Broke thrown into this pack as a celebrity? Even though, like, I do know that Sims 4 is kind of an alternate reality, Dustin Broke is so iconic that, and he doesn't seem like he would ever want to be a celebrity, like, in my personal opinion, so I kind of don't understand that move. And I also wrote, literally the only object I like is the content creation station. I also forgot to note that while Del Sol Valley is a pretty world, there's not enough lots. And it's a huge world. They had so many more places they could have put lots, but they didn't. And I don't really understand that move. So Get Famous, I'm sorry, it's a hate for me. Moving on. Island Living, which I wrote, beautiful world, seriously the prettiest. Mermaids are pretty cool. Finally we could swim in the ocean. And toddlers making sandcastles on the beach is too cute. So Island Living, it's going in like for me. There we go. It's not a favorite because I don't really utilize a lot of the pack. So it's just going in like. Next up we have Discover University. I wrote that it's too many credits unless you're on a long lifespan. So typically when I'm doing a let's play, I will instead like bump it down to 6 credits with a mod. And I find like that's very manageable on a normal lifespan. I also wrote that Sims take forever to get to class if they live on campus, which means they often miss classes, which I don't like, obviously. And I do love the university clubs. So I think Discover University is pretty great in general, but there are a few faults to it, so I am still gonna put it in like. She's going in like. Next up, we have the last expansion pack on our list, but not the last expansion pack to come out, which is Eco Living. I wrote that it is a beautiful world. There were more apartment options. I think there's 1 or 2 apartment buildings in that world, which I loved. And I love the off-the-grid items. So the Duke Collector and the solar panels, amazing. And then I wrote eco initiatives are, in all caps, annoying. And what I don't think they're actually like called eco initiatives, but I mean like the things people vote for, and then NPCs have votes, so you end up with like water conservation or power conservation, and I always disable those. I know you can technically disable them, but I always forget, and I do like some of the initiatives that come up, so I don't just completely disable them. So eco living, because of the items and because of how cool the world is, it is still one of my favorites. It's going in faves. Next up, we have Carnival Streetwear, which I don't own and I don't want, so that's going in don't own, no thoughts. Next is Bust the Dust, and I did comment that it's broken AF, and I don't own it and I don't want it. But if they did fix the bugginess of it, then I would buy it. So currently don't own, don't want, might change my mind. Country Kitchen, I wrote the items slap, love it. I'm gonna put that in my faves because I do use the Country Kitchen counters quite a bit. Throwback Fit, I don't own, but I do want, so also don't own. And next is Courtyard Oasis. Oh no, Throwback Fit, no. Huh? Wait, did I already comment on that one? Yeah, I did. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm lost. Next is Courtyard Oasis. So it works great in Oasis Springs, which is my favorite world. So that is going to go in like. Industrial Loft, I don't own, and I do not want it. Fashion Street, don't own, but I do want. I can't pronounce that word. The I Arrivals. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. I don't want to butcher it. That one I don't own, but I do want. So that's also going in don't own, no thoughts. Modern Men's, or no, Blooming Rooms is next. Finally, more plants. So that's going in faves. Modern Menswear, I don't own, but I do want. So that's going here. And then Holiday, the free, I guess stuff pack. I wrote free stuff is always welcome. So that's going in like, because it's free, can't complain, but also it's not my favorite because there's not really much to use in there. And then lastly, we have the extremely controversial My Wedding Stories. So I don't own it, but I'm gonna give my thoughts because I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I'm not going to talk about their decision to not release it in Russia and then their decision to release it in Russia, because I think a lot of people online have had the same opinion as I do. So we're just going to leave that part of it alone. But I wrote, so broken, I don't get why it was even released. They removed the feature where cats and dogs could go down the aisle, and I've lost faith in The Sims 4 at this point. Those were my comments, and I think they ring pretty true. So even though don't own, no thoughts, because I don't own it, it's hate for me. Or no, it's worst for me, actually. But don't own, no thoughts. But I do have thoughts, because I think we can all agree that it is extremely broken, a big letdown. But if they did fix those things, which I pray that they do because people spend money on this pack, if they do eventually fix it, which I think they said they're working on it, which is great, if they do fix it, it'll bump up. I know it'll bump up because I love the idea of a wedding, a cool wedding, because they did have features like bachelorette parties and, you know, having flower children and stuff like that. Like, I really like the concept of the pack, but I did want to acknowledge that it's very broken. Just in case anybody's watching my video and is thinking about getting that pack, it's very broken. I'd hold off until it is fixed. Save your money for a different pack or for something else, until you know it is fixed, because I feel really bad for the people who have bought that pack, and we're really excited about it. But anyways, this is my list. Again, I'm gonna put out the disclaimer that these are just my opinions. You're free to have your own opinions. Let's not argue in the comments. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing my perspective, because I don't talk about these things often, or really at all. And yeah, if you liked the video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and maybe if you all like this video, I can do a Sims 3 pack ranking, because I do quite like my Sims 3. I think I'll have very different opinions on that game. I do like Sims 4, so like again, I didn't want to come off as like a complete hater, and I might have for some packs, but that's not my intention. They're just my opinions, and yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye everybody.